No one's listening.
We're told the world is run by presidents, prime ministers, and CEOs, but behind the curtain, there's someone else, a presence, a force. Call it what insiders call it, Mr. Global. You won't see him on TV, you won't find him on a Forbes list, but his power shapes the world you live in, and he's not alone. Catherine Austin Fitts, a former Wall Street banker and Assistant Secretary of Housing, coined the term Mr. Global to describe what she saw, a shadow management class, above law, above nations, above elections. These are not elected officials. These are intergenerational pools of capital. They own the banks, they influence policy, and they don't operate on 4-year terms. They operate on centuries. If you know their names, they're probably not in charge. Think of the world as a house. The real assets, land, people, resources. The mortgage system, central banks, and debt. The insurance layer, global institutions like the IMF, BIS, and World Bank. The owners, the ones whose names are kept secret. At the center is the Bank for International Settlements, the central bank of central banks. The BIS has sovereign immunity, operates outside any legal jurisdiction, and can move trillions in secret. This is the plumbing Mr. Global uses to shift money, manage crises, and consolidate power without scrutiny. One of the most powerful examples of Mr. Global's influence is the Harvard Corporation. It's not just a university. It's an investment syndicate with a $50+ billion endowment, run by a self-perpetuating board. Its portfolio rivals that of sovereign wealth funds. Its influence reaches into politics, media, medicine, and global finance. Harvard doesn't just educate elites, it manufactures them. And just like Mr. Global, it operates outside of democratic accountability. Mr. Global doesn't need armies, he has legal shields. NGOs, central banks, multinational corporations, development banks, and supranational institutions with sovereign immunity. They can break laws, move capital, collapse currencies, all while hiding behind diplomatic walls. If a bank like HSBC gets caught laundering drug money, it gets a fine, but no one goes to jail. Why? Because they're systemically important, because they're part of the machine. CBDCs, surveillance AI, digital IDs, behavioral nudging, all of it is infrastructure for Mr. Global's real goal: predictive control. He doesn't just want to monitor you, he wants to predict your actions before you make them, so he can manipulate them. And once the grid is complete, dissent won't just be punished, it'll be preempted. Here's a chilling theory. What if the missing trillions, the black budget funds, the financial coup since the late 90s, were used to create a global endowment, a financial war chest big enough to run governments off-grid, fund parallel infrastructures, control populations through incentives and starvation, not through traditional governments, but through debt, digital systems, and psychological warfare. They don't need to win elections, they just need to own the algorithms. Control, not for its own sake, but to manage risk. Fitts describes Mr. Global as a risk manager, terrified of losing power in a chaotic world. He hoards capital, suppresses innovation, builds bunkers, prepares for extinction events. He wants to rule, from above or from elsewhere. And if he can't control the population peacefully, he'll do it digitally, or biologically, or economically, whatever works. But here's what Mr. Global fears most. Awakening, because if the population stops complying, the control system collapses. That's why you're not taught about the BIS. That's why FASAB 56 was passed in silence. That's why decentralization, community, and independent wealth building are threats. Because once you stop needing Mr. Global, he loses control. We don't need to storm palaces. We just need to stop feeding the machine. Stop giving our data away. Stop supporting rigged systems. Build real wealth, not just money, but relationships, skills, and trust. Mr. Global is powerful, but he's terrified of a world he can't predict. He fears a civilization that thinks for itself. And the truth is, that civilization is still possible. But it starts with seeing through the illusion and saying no. No to lies, no to the grid, no to invisible kings, because Mr. Global only rules as long as we obey.
No one's listening. Like and subscribe.